Barnaby Joyce is clinging to the Deputy Prime Ministership after threats to mobilise a collective tap on his shoulder amounted to nothing. Nationals MPs had talked about sending a delegation to tell Mr Joyce his leadership was shaky. But in a rare moment of relief after a dreadful week, key allies are standing by him and he's holding on to his job for now. Here's National Affairs correspondent Greg Jennett.
Is Barnaby asked to stand down, Senator?
Nothing to see here. Just the non-stop story of Barnaby Joyce's National Party.
He doesn't have to ask for support, he's got it.
Bridget McKenzie's the loyal deputy.
A rural and regional Australian absolutely backs our leader, like all of us.
Out to exert authority.
Guys, you're not helping us.
Of a leadership revulsion that couldn't be silenced.
Look, I'd hope to have it resolved today or tomorrow.
There should be a delegation that should see Barnaby.
Yeah,
Would you be part of that delegation?
Maybe, maybe not.
The Queensland hardware merchant wanted his leader tapped, and he wasn't alone. The Nationals president was called in.
Look, this is a very difficult time for the National Party.
And the Deputy Prime Minister's defenders were pushed out.
We need this to be dealt with quickly, but those that want to keep this issue lingering on need to put up or shut up and leave him alone and leave his family alone.
I believe that Barnaby will remain our leader. We need to let him have a bit of personal time to sort this out.
No delegation did drop by. The resolution to the crisis the coalition craved was left hanging.
It is important that we find a way to move on from this as swiftly as possible.
Barnaby Joyce elected instead to stare down his detractors.
Has the Prime Minister suggested to the Deputy Prime Minister that it's time he resigned?
The muted answer was no.
We still believe in people actually having a job.
He's determined to keep his.
Why won't the Deputy Prime Minister do the right thing by the people of Australia and resign?
Labor's cut to the chase.
And that's when the fun really starts.
Homing in on the rent-free Armidale home Mr Joyce and his pregnant partner are living in, and giving a platform to the would-be leadership agitator who wasn't.
You've just been bulldogged.
In a party room of 20 others, Barnaby Joyce still commands a solid band of loyalists. But this crisis is far from over. It's still testing the patience of senior coalition partners, especially before the Prime Minister's trip overseas next week.
Will the Deputy Prime Minister be the acting Prime Minister of Australia?
The answer is the same as it was earlier in the week.
Back then, the answer was a yes. Greg Jennett, ABC News, Canberra.
The ABC's political editor Andrew Probyn joins us from Parliament House. Andrew, it appears Barnaby Joyce is determined to see this through. Is he out of the woods?
Well, the pain's not over for Barnaby Joyce, I wouldn't think, or the National Party. They're split along these lines. There's some who say that you shouldn't knock off what they say is the party's greatest asset, and there are some who say no, Barnaby Joyce is a longer-term liability. But the fact that we didn't see a challenge, we didn't see a spill, and we didn't see that delegation being talked about yesterday suggests that the numbers don't lie at present with his detractors. Now, this is very unusual for the National Party. They haven't had a leadership crisis like this since the 1980s, which is very different to the Labor Party and the Liberal Party.
So if Mr Joyce does hang on, he stands to become acting Prime Minister next week when Malcolm Turnbull is overseas. Is that going to happen?
Look, there are plenty in the coalition who hope that that doesn't happen, both in the National Party and the Liberal Party. Now, the Larry Anthony, who's the federal president of the Nationals, is in Canberra at the moment seeking a resolution. There's a suggestion from some that one resolution would be to encourage Barnaby Joyce to take some personal leave. If that is successful, then Julie Bishop is suggesting that she could delay her own overseas travel and fulfil the role as acting PM next week. Matt?
Political editor Andrew Probyn, thank you.